Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining this transit worker panel. We'll be talking about a lot of issues that's dealing with working conditions, this merger that's supposed to happen between CTA, Pace, Metra. And we're going to start it off with Nick Kreitman, who is the attorney for Eric Slater. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm the attorney representing Eric Slater in his unfair labor practice case. We had just concluded a hearing in May. The basic facts are that during the George Floyd protests, Eric was an executive board member of ATU 241. In the course of his duties as a board representative during a summer pick where the bus operators at North Park Bus Garage were selecting their pick of runs for the season. He was soliciting and asking bus operators their concerns, probably during the most important week in decades, probably, for bus operators to hear from their union rep. They were in the middle of a global pandemic and in the middle of absolute uncertainty with regard to questions about their personal safety, what was happening with the schedules, what was going on with bus service generally. And Eric was there. He showed up. He was picking his own runs. And in the course of taking concerns, relaying information from the ATU International president, in particular, reading off his phone one of the president's statements about the George Floyd protests, he was retaliated against. The senior manager at North Park Bus Garage repeatedly threatened his job, repeatedly called the police on him. The police did eventually respond that week, and he was subsequently removed from service without more than a sentence explanation on a notice of interview sheet. Eventually, he was charged with leading a wildcat strike. Um, During the course of the trial, we entered in evidence that the CTA's position has repeatedly changed on what actually Eric was doing. First, it was leading a wildcat strike. Well, they didn't have anybody testify. They didn't have any evidence there was any wildcat strike. No disruption to service. Nobody testified, as to flyers being handed out. There were no internet posts about it. Nothing happened. The CTA witnesses admitted there was no, they couldn't give any kind of, calculation. They couldn't name a single bus that was delayed. So then they started saying, well, Eric was leading rap sessions in violation of COVID rules. There were no COVID rules entered into evidence by CTA. There was a single email from the vice president of bus operations, Naranjo, with a disclaimer saying "do not distribute," which was an admission that CTA was holding rap sessions in violation of whatever interest they had in not congregating workers. Either way, there was no violation of any COVID policies that happened during the pick week. So then they started entering into evidence. They had conflicting testimony about Eric going around advocating the arming of bus operators. We know that isn't true. A, because you can hear it from Eric, but B, because none of these statements, these wild accusations about what Eric was saying, was even documented in the manager's own discipline notes, his own interview notes of himself he was emailing at the time. We have a witness interview from the only non-manager CTA witness. Those interview notes or the incident reports authored by that witness are misleadingly backdated. We have the original emails where they were sent, and they're backdated to reflect they were made at the time, they were allegedly written, or when the incidents happened. They weren't. The witness admitted as much on the witness stand. And we have the emailed corrections. The witness was emailing back and forth with the senior manager to coordinate these statements, but the statements don't even match what she came in and testified under oath to. So essentially what happened at the trial was that we brought multiple witnesses who testified credibly that nothing of the sort of what the CTA was accusing Eric of doing actually happened. Sorry, I am running to the store right now, but nothing the CTA accused Eric of had any evidence at all entered in at the hearing, other than just contradictory recollections of the senior manager. So we brought forward the unfair labor practice charge under section 10A1 and 10A2 when we originally filed the charge. 10A1 protects the public employee's right to engage in what's called concerted activity, which is organizing with your coworkers to improve working conditions generally, and also coordinating with members of the public to improve working conditions generally. We believe that there's more than enough evidence. That's exactly what Eric was doing when he was having these conversations with his coworkers about the working conditions at the job site. 10A2 protects public employees from discrimination because of their union affiliation. While Eric was leading these as the union executive board member, there's not going to be any question about the anti-union animus. They just didn't want to have the union executive board member, which I'm sure what Smith would say is riling up the members at the bus garage during this critical week when they just wanted compliance. They didn't want to hear the voice of the workers. They didn't care what the workers thought. They just wanted compliance. Well, that's not going to happen. Bus operators are smart, intelligent people. They're leaders of families. They have concerns, and those concerns benefit the bus operations of the city, and they should have been listened to. And that's exactly what Eric was doing. He was listening to his members. So we brought that in the original unfair labor practice charge when we filed the ULP. Unfortunately, the Illinois Public Labor Relations Board misdrafted the complaint, which is the actual legal document the hearing went forward on, and left off the 10A2 charge. So now we're in the process of refiling the charge after the hearing, which is permitted by the board regulations. And then the next step will be to submit post-trial briefings, which will, I believe, be concluded in about 45 days. The step after that, the administrative law judge issues a recommended decision and order. The parties can write responses to that. The recommended decision and order gets submitted with the parties' responses to the local panel of the Illinois Public Labor Relations Board, which then votes on whether to adopt the recommended decision and order of the administrative law judge in total, reject it, or modify it. And at that point, your appeal is to the First District Appellate Court, which has jurisdiction over appeals from the Illinois Public Labor Relations Board local panel, which handles basically Chicago area cases. Our hope is that the mayor finally
You're on mute, Nick.
I think we got
Okay. He's finishing up anyway.
Yeah. So ultimately, our hope is that the mayor wakes up from whatever coma he's in with regard to all matters CTA, reviews this case, and stops wasting CTA money, stops this circus against CTA bus operators, and just puts Eric back to work and makes him whole, without having to, use the resources of the CTA, abuse, Eric's limited resources. Unfortunately, we've had to sustain over $8,000 of costs at this point, just at the Labor Relations Board, because there is no award of fees. Even if you win, you don't get the costs of the court reporters, which are charged to the parties equally. And apparently, the court reporter agency is charging at least 3 times more than the Circuit Court of Cook County standard rate and the Illinois Northern District federal court rate. It's something like 12 cents per page, whereas the ordinary rate is, I believe, something like 4 cents a page for Cook County transcripts and Illinois Northern District transcripts. So we've had to eat thousands of dollars of costs that we won't be awarded back, even in the event we win everything we ask for. So at this point, I think the ball's in the mayor's court to just make things right and live up to all of his campaign promises and social media posts about caring for workers and actually do something.
Thank you so much, Nick.
Quick
Thank you for everything
question.
you're doing for all of us.
Quick question. What efforts are being made to reach the mayor?
I mean, he should know about it. Certainly we would love any help. If you have a way to get in touch with him, you got a cell phone number, feel free to pass it on.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Sorry for about that disruption, everybody. I think that was an important to update people on that matter. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nick.
All right, great. Thank you, Nick. So at this point, I'm going to read a little small disclaimer. This discussion today does not represent the views of any organization, including ATU 241 or 308. We are a collection of rank and file frontline transit workers who offer views to encourage further discussion among transit workers and our allies. So I'm going to ask, go ahead, Andre.
Yeah.
Andre? Okay, at this point, I'm going to ask each of the participants to introduce themselves and tell us what their job duties are and how much experience they have, and identify which union you are part of. So I'll start with myself. My name is Robert Thomas. I'm a bus operator at 103rd Street Garage, and I'm a part of ATU 241.
You want me to go?
Yeah, Eric, go.
Okay. My name is Eric Slater. I first started driving the CTA buses in 2006. This has been about 18 years. I've driven about 100 routes coming out of north, south, and west sides, Chicago, Evanston, Skokie. My coworkers elected me to three times to 3-year terms to be the union executive board member and delegate to the international constitutional conventions of the Amalgamated Transit Union and the Locals 241. And basically what that meant was about 500 families defending them from unjust punishment meted out by CTA managers, administrators, and executives, and it was a daily war. Over those years, I've been convinced that CTA workers could lead the CTA without management, and that we do a much better job.
Thank you, Eric. Andre Thompson, you're next.
How you doing? Can y'all hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm Andre Thompson, retired bus operator out of 103rd, former union official from 2015 to 2017. Worked alongside Eric on certain things for the workers. I've been been operating a bus for like 34 years, 30 years full time. I've been retired for like a year, still active with dealing with Robert, Eric, and everybody else that's dealing with transit, a lot of different other groups. And that's it. Who else online?
All right, thank you, Andre. We got Khaled next.
My name is Khalid Abdullah. I'm a 30-year veteran of the Chicago Transit Authority, also part of Local 308 as a member. I've been working with Eric Basir on different projects, but I'm happy to be here and thank you for allowing me to participate today.
All right, thank you, Khaled. So next we got Steve Eckhart.
Hey, everyone, brothers and sisters. So, yeah, Steve Eckhart, I'm retired, 308, local 308 repairman. I had 33 years of service, every shop in the city except for 98th Street. And I'm still a dues paying member. And
You got hot, huh? This motherfucker is hot. I'm doing the same.
so, yeah, that's it. And strength and unity.
Thank you, Steve. So next we got the Boogeyman.
Oh man, it's brother Eric Basir. Thank you, Robert and Eric, for organizing this. Rail car repairer. Before that, operator, flagman, customer assistant, and co-organizer with Robert and Andre in the Chicago Transit Justice Coalition, elected by the shop workers in Local 308 to be their executive board member, and running for president. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome, Wazir. So last but not least, we got Vicky.
Thank you for the invite, fellas. My name is Vicky John.
Turn up your volume, Vicky. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Very.
It's very
very
faint.
Yeah.
Can you move the phone?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's
Hold
better,
on.
Vicky. That's
Can
better.
you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Vicky Johnson. I've been in transportation. This is my 21st year. I work for Chicago. I started in Chicago Transit Authority in 2004. 2007, I became a full-time bus operator. In 2016, I was elected for a delegate, but it all started in 2007 when Doomsday for the election, when I really got involved with the union, started educating myself about the union, what are unions for. Also in 2010, we started a group, laid off group, because we did get laid off in 2010. I was fighting ever since then. We went to trips to Iowa, not Canada, Ohio, Washington, D.C., standing up for the members for our rights. Unfortunately, after the 2016 convention, I was attacked by numerous people in Chicago Transit Authority. Had a mark out for me. I was blackballed. In 2018, they fired me for a bottle of water. Moving forward, I'm still standing because I'm still union. I'm back with 241. I work for Pace now. So that's a little bit about my story. I'm still standing on this fight, and I just think we need to take some change. We need to do some changes. We need change for real, for real, for real. We cannot continue to have on, because I'm an unjust fired worker, and it's many of us out here. And we need to do something about the unjust fire workers and bring the people back to work. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, Vicky. So, Eric, do you want to say anything before I get started with the questions?
Well, I could just say real quick, I think Eric Basir said it too. We're just a handful of workers who are helping each other to get the information out. There was a bunch of urgent things happening the last few weeks, so we just put this together as quick as we could. And the several big things going on with the discussion of merging the three sections, like Vicky's and Pace now. A lot of us here from the CTA on the rail side and the bus side, but also Metra, and they're having discussions about joining them in. So we one of the things we're trying to do with this discussion is talk about what nobody is talking about, which is what do the experts want from public transportation? What do we think? The people actually maintain and drive the buses and trains. What do we think? So we hastily put together this panel. The other issue we're going to bring up, hopefully in the second part of this panel, is an attack on our democratic rights within the unions. Robert can talk more about that. Eric can talk more about that. They're trying to keep anyone who opposes or has a different viewpoint out of the meetings, and that's really a problem for our organization. So that's some of the things that have quickly happened in the last few weeks, and we put this together as fast as we could. So we apologize for the up and down of this meeting. So hopefully it'll go well. Hopefully we can have a good discussion, useful discussion.
All right. So we're gonna start off with the first question here. So as everybody knows, in the news in Chicago is the frustration at the CTA, Chicago Transit Authority. Many are frustrated at the violence and the poor service. Workers are treated so poorly that the agencies claim they are having trouble hiring and retaining enough frontline workers. Dozens of community organizations, thousands of riders, even the city council members, and even the governor of Illinois is calling for President of the CTA, Dorval Carter, to step down. Illinois politicians just held 2 days of public discussions about possibly combining the 3 agencies, CTA, Pace Suburban Bus, and Metro Rail, into one agency. Some are calling for elected transit board, which has workers and passengers leading it. With all of this going on, very few bother to ask what the real experts, us the workers, think. The real experts are the thousands of transit workers who every day expertly make sure that people get to where they need to go safely. The transit agencies and their managers and executives see us as enemies and often treat us like criminals or children. They explicitly don't want our opinions and story made public. So I'm going to start off with the first question, and I would like each person that's on this panel to give a short 3-minute answer. So the first question is, transit workers are frequently verbally assaulted, threatened, beaten, and even shot at. Just a few days ago, a bus operator was shot here in Chicago trying to break up a fight. Yet, if we are attacked or threatened, management doesn't back us up. They see us as potential enemies in lawsuits or injured on duty claims, etc. For the protection of workers and passengers, among other reasons, would you support a second union worker on each of our transit vehicles as conductors or fare collectors, etc.? Eric, you can go first, and then Andre will be second.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm nursing a cold right here, so I'm gonna try to stick to my notes. Yeah, I would say we used to have a second worker on the buses in Chicago a few generations ago. They would concentrate on helping the passengers and collecting the fare so that the bus operators could focus on safely driving the bus. They still have a second worker on buses in many parts of the world. I went to Sao Paulo, Brazil, a huge system. It's bigger than New York, or as big as New York. When I was illegally fired by the CTA the first time, I was invited by some transit workers in Brazil, and I saw this for myself. I saw a second worker, a second union worker on the buses with us. We even made a movie about it. As a driver, I can see how valuable it is to have a second union worker present to back you up if there's any kind of fight going on or otherwise, just to help you concentrate on driving the bus. It's ridiculous that we're fiddling with coins and the passengers sometimes fighting with us. It's outrageous that we have this human life on the bus, and we're fighting on that when we're actually driving the vehicle down, the center of the city. On the trains, I hope some of the operators here, the train operators and trackmen, talk about this, but I think it's even more outrageous, dangerously outrageous, that sometimes more than 1,000 human lives are to be safeguarded by one combined rail operator on the rail side. At times you're down there deep underground. Sometimes we're crushed together, packed in these rail cars. If there was a track emergency, it's very important, I understand, to have more conductors to work with the train operators to empower control to make sure people don't step onto the third rail or can otherwise evacuate calmly, etc. I think a second or more workers on our vehicle would also help to make it clear that transit vehicles are not a place where people can be harassed or attacked without a public representative present, help make sure things are cleaner. And I think this is probably the most important thing, hiring unemployed people to transit jobs at union scale wages, benefits, and contractual and legal rights will help thousands of unemployed people and their families pull out of sometimes difficult conditions. And being part of a workers' union can connect workers to that collective power that we can use to improve society more generally. It can transform and empower many people's lives for the better. And that's really, in my opinion, what our unions can be doing. That's the potential of our unions. But calling on more workers to be hired, more of those workers be on frontline jobs like maintenance, track workers, on the buses, on the trains, I think will go a long way to helping our safety issues.
All right, thank you, Eric. Andre, you up next. Andre, you there? All right, Steve, you up next.
Well, I mean, I think this is a very important issue, and in 308, we have.
I couldn't get back in the line to talk to y'all. After Steve, I'll talk. I was trying to say something, but I couldn't get to.
Okay, no problem.
Solid. Yeah, this is Steve Eckhart. Yeah, in 308, we still haven't given up on the desire and hope to bring back a conductor, as Eric did a fine job of describing how dangerous it is to have only one person operating a train with maybe 1,000 people on it, in an evacuation situation. Also, now that they're locked in their front cab, they provide no presence on the train for passengers. Having a conductor, is really important for public safety, not only in terms of evacuations, but also knowing that, especially for women and other vulnerable people, that that they can sit in the car with the conductor. The conductor is there. The conductor has a radio, can directly connect to control or police or whatever's needed. And I mean, this is the kind of thing that makes it, will provide a safer working environment for the passenger. I mean, riding experience for the passengers. So bringing back the conductors, is a big deal, and there's public support in the community for that. Doing it on the buses too would like it's often done in Europe, as Eric said, would be equally wonderful. I mean, it's illegal to be on your phone or do anything else when you're driving. It's called distracted driving. That's an offense. But I mean, could there be anything more distracting than trying to drive a bus while at the same time dealing with all the fares and all passenger issues, etc. So yeah, two-person operations, for sure. By the way, let me just throw in, there's also on the freight railroads, there's a big drive by the big railroad companies to try to reduce, crew size to one so-called crew to one person. So one person driving a train that may be as long as 2 miles long. There's a bigger, interest, beyond just CTA. There's also a similar struggle is happening on the big freight railroads to defend crew size. So any unity we can get with them would be useful. Thank you.
All right, great, Steve. Thank you. All right, Andre, we going back to you.
All right, so tell me what is what the question was that I was supposed to answer to, because I was offline.
Okay, this is the question here. The question is, for the protection of the workers and passengers, among other reasons, would you support a second employee union worker on each of our transit vehicles as conductors or fare collectors?
I will support the L with two person crews. As far as the buses, no. I would recommend there be more better security on the buses, better shields on the buses. The buses need shields that a person cannot pull back and get to the drivers. Because two people on the bus is not necessary. They need better response system for the police. You know, the police really don't respond to criminal activity if a driver hit the alarm or hit the button saying, "Hey, I need somebody off the bus." So I support that. But two people on a bus, no, I support more uniform employees, which would give everybody more full-time employment at the CTA. They need to eliminate all part-time positions. And our own police force, I don't think it's necessary to have a police force dedicated to the bus. I think that more employees, more better communication with the control center for response time is needed. And I feel like the newer operators, I really feel sorry for them. I don't feel like they're gonna last long because there's too much stress with the managers. The whole thing is discipline. Being able to take a day off is discipline. It don't, a human being can't deal with this kind of stuff for so years and years to come. It's just too rough. Bathroom situations is unhumane. I think that needs to be addressed. And that's my response. I think that the employees need to be treated much better. The managers need to try to solve the problem instead of always trying to discipline. Their whole day is about disciplining the operator. That needs to stop. There's no such thing as employee appreciation. It's just like Eric said, it's employee exploitation day. So that's my response.
All right, great. Next we got Khaled.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to have an additional union employee. But in the past, we did have a conductor when I was a rail operator in the early 90s. And it was very helpful for the operator. Now it's just one single man operation. It's on an 8-car train. It's just ridiculous. And we also had back in the 80s, union. I don't know if they were unionized, but there were CTA police. So I mean, instead of having these rent-a-cop kids running around the CTA system acting like rent-a-cops, but they're just teenage kids working as security guards, working for politicians to have these contracts hiring these kids off the streets. It'd be nice to have multiple union employees from bringing back conductors on the trains. On the buses, I agree with Andre. Multiple union members on a bus, probably not, but better security for the bus drivers. But that's all I have to share. But thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Khaled. We got Boogeyman next. Boogeyman, you there?
All right. Sorry about that and unmuting stuff. I'm on the steering committee of the Railroad Workers United, and the one-person train operation is a number one top priority issue to prevent on the freight side. And I've been involved with them for the whole time I've been at the CTA. So that is definitely something that we need to continue to develop a relationship with, is workers in the transportation field at different companies and that have different clientele. Two-person crews is necessary for all classifications wherever especially where we're exposed in the to the public. There's ways to do it on the bus side, and that's why I will not. Although it seems, looking at it now, it's not feasible, but that's why we have to look at what other cities are doing and what works, because it is so much safer to have another CTA uniformed employee. No, we're not security. It is a deterrent. It is a level of security where the riders feel safer. And that's what's important. On the maintenance side for rail, we are down now to 1 yard inspector. Okay, yard inspectors have to check the trains on the outside of the trains and on the inside of the trains, and we have specific bulletins. Now the CTA has cut that from 2 person to 1 person. It is unsafe and it's almost impossible for yard inspectors to get the job done right. Almost everything we're doing in maintenance is 1 person now. Almost everything except heavy equipment maintenance called truck shop. But I think that's going to happen too if we don't fight back. 40 seconds. On the operations side, I'm going to give you all an example. I'm going to give you numbers. Delays aren't just from emergencies. We have doors being pulled open multiple times every single trip. You're talking delays of 1 to 6 minutes every trip. Questions by riders at the motor cab window and gap filler deployment. People who press the personal intercom unit button. That's that emergency button you see on each rail car. 1 to 3 minutes. Workers on or near the tracks with or without flagmen. You got to slow down or stop your train. Can you give me 30 more seconds, please? Can you give me a little more time?
Yeah, go ahead, Bazir.
1 to 3 minutes for operators to select routes when there's no towerman on duty when they're at the terminal. In order to lead the train, in order to take your train out of the terminal or come into the terminal, especially on like Kimball and Cottage Grove and Midway. Not so much Midway because I believe they have a towerman on duty all the time. But the operator must select. So the operator's doing 3 people's job. Okay, that's 1 to 3 minutes. 1 to 6 minute delays you're going to find with making special announcements from bulletins, checking or listening in on your radio, responding to the controller. When you have to walk from one side of the, now keep in mind, not all stations are in between the tracks. So the platforms of the stations are sometimes on the sides of the track. Okay, it's not an island platform. If it's on the side of the track, if it's an island platform, you have to walk from one side of the motor cab to the other. Imagine doing that, like at on the Orange Line, which is almost every station except in the Loop. You walk from one side of the motor cab to the other to operate the doors. 1 to 3 minute delays. When doors are manually held open by riders or security while you're at the station, 1 to 3 minutes. You got speed restrictions and other troubleshooting that comes up. We have things called a blue light where we have to go check the car and reset because of a motor default or a suspension defect. 1 to 6 minutes. And then when you get your train, finally you get your train to the end of the terminal, usually at Howard and Kimball, depending on the time of day, you actually got to clear that train. It's always at Howard. It takes 1 to 2 minutes to clear that, 1 to 10 minutes to clear that train. Add all this up mathematically. When it comes to your trip, one trip, these poor operators of the trains are suffering 8 to 46 minute delays. When it comes to the day, just one day on the job as a train operator at the CTA, you are talking about 25 to 138 minutes cumulative delays. Take a week, 5 days, 2 to 11 hours of delays, and add it up for a year, 100 to 550 hours of delays. So the whole argument about two-person crews isn't practical and it costs too much. Oh, it costs a lot for the operators and the passengers. Thank you.
All right, and then we got Vicky.
What'd you say, Vicky?
Yes, you're up.
Okay, thank you. I heard a lot. As a longtime resident in the city of Chicago, born and raised, and I also took trains and buses throughout my life, and then eventually I am a driver. So I'm an experienced 21 years public driver. Now, as we speak, I really agree. I agree with Eric about we should have an extra driver, because as we speak right now, I am in Vegas and I got on Deuce buses here in Vegas, and they have a security officer.
Becky, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
This city in Vegas is, you got millions of people coming through here. And I thought that that was really good, because the security officer, he was like giving information to the passengers. And so I said, oh, that's real good. And then I said, shoot, CTA should have that. And then since you mentioned about our bus driver just got shot the other day, and then on top of it, we dealing with a mass transportation, we dealing with constantly people. We got people that get on a bus, the act of food, the kids. I'm the one that had got assaulted. I got assaulted by young kids that got on my bus. They spit in my face. I didn't have no protection there. And then I didn't have no protection when I went to the manager office, because they didn't do anything. That was an assault. Clearly on the bus, say if you assault a driver, you get a $10,000 fine and you may go to jail. So the management, CTA, didn't do anything about that. I got attacked when I was on the south side working at 74th Garage. This man tried to push me back into the bathroom and try to take, but I stood my ground. Moving forward, um, they used to have conductors on a train. What happened? What is they doing today? They getting rid of all the jobs and putting more work pressure on the workers, on the rail and operator. We have to be an operator to drive this bus, operate this bus safely, and then we have to be doctors, we have to be nurses, we have to be the police officer. We're not getting paid. Chicago police officer. Yes, CTA do have Chicago CPD come on a bus, but all they do is come on a bus, get your badge, ride up one block. They don't spy out and see what's going on the bus. They ride up one block and just get your badge, so they getting paid. So who's getting paid here? The money is going to the management to patrol the operators, to patrol the operators on 308 side and 241 over there at Pace. It's just ridiculous. I see one of the operators, they get fired because somebody startled her and somebody fell off the bus. The girl just went through a training of 6 months, 7 months of work, and just because she got startled by a passenger that came to ask a question, it startled her. So she was focused and concentrate on driving. She started her when it do says on the sign that passengers do not talk to the operator while she or the person is operating the vehicle. So if you do have a security officer on the bus, he can give information to the passenger. So I think that'd be good, and also that'd be a win-win-win for us as a union workers, because that's more jobs for the company, and then there's more union workers. And it just, I think it's a really good idea, and we need to push this, because right now it's the time. Our drivers are getting assaulted, they're getting attacked. You guys know about people getting raped, uh, attacked with a gun, beat with chicken, frozen chicken, spit on. Now we getting shot at, killed. I mean, yes, we do, and it's gonna take us four to stand up and put our cars up. when they merging, they finna get ready to merge all of these. They want to merge all of that. What is they doing for the management? From my understanding, it's for the management side. And so because the government, I mean, the in the house, they looking at where's all the money going. All the money is going to the management and management, and they cutting the workers, the one who are actually doing the job. So it's gonna take us to stand up and voice our opinions and stand up because we are the experienced drivers. We are the one that's going through this out here every day. And then on top of that, and the management is coming down on us, firing us for little stupid stuff or disciplining us for ignorance. We got a lot of work to do, and we can't be playing. And thank you.
All right, you're welcome, Vicky. So before we go to the next question, I'll just say I support two-person crews.
I'm not hearing. I don't know if you guys heard me or anything, but I can't hear nobody now.
We heard you, Vicky. Can you hear Robert? Can you hear me? Make sure your volume's up.
I have no audio. I don't know if you even heard me.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you, Vicky. Can you turn your volume up? All right, I'm just gonna go ahead. Then hopefully she has her audio issues fixed. I'll just say that I support two-person crews, especially on the rails, and we need, like Andre said, we need better security on the bus side. Those plastic shields that they got are horrible. They say they improved them by making them real glass instead of plexiglass, and they extending them further to the windshield. But if somebody wants to come around that shield and hit you in the face, spit at you, punch you, they can still do it. So I definitely recommend that we need better security on the buses, and we need better response times from the police. And I don't agree with the union. CTA police force is not the answer. Yes, we did have it 20, 30 years ago, but we don't need it now. We need better security for the employees, and we need, like Andre said, we need more employees on the system so it can be a deterrent. So I'm gonna get to the next question, which is most managers and executives at the CTA have never done our work of driving a bus or a train or customer service assistant. Yet they hold our livelihoods and our careers in their hands. What is your experience with managers at your workplace? Should the people supposedly holding us accountable, aka the managers, transportation managers, senior managers, and judging our work, should they be required to have done our work in order to have the position that they're in now? Let's see.
Here we go.
We're gonna start backwards this time. Let's start with Vicky first.
I think she can't hear us.
Okay, well, she come back.
Okay, I'm sorry. For a minute there, I don't even know if you guys heard me when you at first asked the first question. Did you guys hear me?
Yeah, we did.
We heard you.
Okay, cool. Now I can hear you because I don't know what happened, but I didn't even hear this question what you just asked. What are your questions?
The question, Vicky, was should the managers at the garages and terminals, should they have experience in driving a bus, driving a train, in order to get the management position that they're in?
Yes, I believe they should. Yes, they should because they need to know what we experience because they do discipline. Yes, they should. Yes, definitely.
Okay, and then the other part of the question, Vicky, is if you want to tell us, you don't have to, you can skip this part. What is your experience with managers at your workplace?
What is my experience with managers at my workplace?
Yeah, good, bad, or ugly.
One thing, I don't trust them. I believe some of them because from where I'm at now, they don't even they don't even educate you. They just say, to me, I feel like they need to give you the correct information, and I don't trust them. I don't trust them. That's how I feel. So I mean, they're in their position. I think they need to manage better. They just it's too much police and too much control, and I nah. But I
Well,
respect that position. I respect position. I respect their position, but I don't trust none of them. I had to get my information that I did. I got to keep on searching and seeking.
all right, Vicky. Well, I could definitely agree with you on that trust thing. Well, I rarely trust the managers, and a lot of them don't know what the hell they doing. They brought them in from McDonald's, Walgreens, Home Depot, Lowe's. As long as they got management on that resume, they bring them in. And they prefer they don't have transportation experience because they can brainwash them and just tell them charge, 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 and throw the rules at them. So with that being said, we're gonna go to Boogeyman. You up next.
Well, I take great pride on being hated and despised by the Chicago Transit Authority mismanagement, having repeatedly had cops called on me, uh, retaliated against. Members who reach out to me are retaliated against and punished by them. Now, I use the word mismanagement with a purpose. There is management, and yes, a good manager who manages will have real experience doing the work that they're supposed to be managing. However, most of them are mismanagers because, like you all said, they use punishment and fear to increase productivity. And of course, it's having the opposite effect. And I believe they're doing that on purpose because it's actually cheaper, believe it or not. It saves money if the CTA fires people, even if they just hired them. Now, after they're on for over a year, that's when they get expensive because then the CTA has to do what? If they're a year full time, pension. And they got to match our pension. Believe it or not, we have a really good pension matching. It's better than any 401k. For every dollar you put in of your pay, the CTA puts in $1. So it's underfunded, but damn, it's pretty good. And it's real important that they keep firing us because it saves money. So they're doing their job as management. And anyone who says they're a good manager, if it's true, they're not going to be there long. Thank you.
Thank you, Bazir. We got Steve next.
Sorry, no, I'm good. I'm good right now. Thank you. Good to hear what you're saying.
All right, did you want to answer the question, Steve?
Well, I mean, I'd like to go to, kind of a different thing, which is like, what exactly is the way forward? I mean, we're talking about things that need to be accomplished, and they're really good and important things, including bringing back, unjustly fired workers, increasing crew size, etc. But I mean, how do you accomplish that? I mean, I just wanted to quickly share my thoughts. I mean, what we're trying to do, what we should try to do is get the unions back in our hands. And that doesn't necessarily mean, running people to kick out the incumbents, although it could include that. But even better to try to make the union officials do their jobs. The kind of thing we should be working for is all based on the idea that our strength is in our unity, not just within 241 or within 308, but between 241, 308, and then even bigger than that with the rest of the working class. I think we should put union officials on the spot when the UAW goes out on strike. ATU should be there on the picket lines. When UPS Teamsters threatened to strike, we should be out there. And if we put them on that spot, it's hard for them to say no. And then we can start to build something that's bigger and can create the kind of force that can actually make some changes. Because again, our strength is in our unity. Sorry if that was off topic, but that's
it's all good. It's all good. And you said ATU should be there when these UPS was on strike. Well, I believe Boogeyman, Eric Slater, was there when Ford was striking, when UAW was striking. So, and Andre Thompson was out there as well when they were striking.
Yes. Yes, sir.
You know, we have solidarity with other unions who do strike. You know, it's a shame that our union tries everything in the book to prevent us from striking, but you know. All right, so the next question is for our panelists. For decades, we have seen the transit agency squeeze our schedules and cut off our needed recovery times, including needed paid time off, to try to force us to go faster and faster, with more passengers crammed into our vehicles, more buses and trains to fix and maintain. If workers were paid to make and adjust schedules and make decisions as a group with passenger input, what would you want to see change? How could that or something similar work? Eric Slater first.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't really respond on the last one, but that's okay. I think it was a good discussion. Okay. So I've been a bus operator for 18 years or so, and I got my nice uniform on, and people often get on and assume that, well, they see that we do our job so well, and naturally they come to us with their concerns and ideas for making things better. They talk directly to us, and we often agree, I think, with what the passengers are saying, but we often say to them, well, it's not up to us. Management doesn't listen to us. And I think we can follow our instincts and organize ourselves. Transit workers at CTA, we certainly do not lack the confidence or social skills to organize meetings of other workers to make decisions along with passenger input. If anything, I think we lack the confidence that it's even possible, or the awareness of it, that we can do a better job. We're told so many times of how we're just these peons and we're supposed to do what we're told, but it's really the opposite. As soon as I think as soon as we understand that it's possible, we can really begin to struggle for what I would call worker control, or more worker control. And frankly, I've been a shop steward for 3 terms, and I've been so close with my coworkers. I think we're ready to do it almost immediately. I mean, it would take a period of transition, but I'm confident we will have public transportation organized much better than the current system. A few things, just to be practical about it, a few things that we could start would be making the bus and train schedules on a route by route basis. Some experienced active workers could meet regularly at the bus garages or train terminals, even the headquarters, or even a library someplace, once a week or so, to go over issues and concerns that need to be dealt with on that bus or train route. And we would be paid to do that. We'd be taken off of our route. Someone else would do it, and we would be paid to do it. Every season, we could draft the schedules with the assistance from the current scheduling department, perhaps, and passenger engagement. I mean, I've been running the picks for 7 or 8 years in North Park Garage a few years back, and every year it got worse and worse. And that was one of the biggest things that we said, why don't we make the schedules? We know what's going on. On more urgent matters on the street, we could elect our street leaders and dispatchers. We would, once workers get the gist of this kind of possibility, I think our imagination and inventiveness, combined with our competence and natural leadership in the communities, will unlock all kinds of possibilities of how worker community direct control might work in practice. And that's one of the things I was hoping we could discuss with this panel. and I'll just finish on this, is because very few are asking us what we think should be done with public transportation. They think very low of us that we can actually do it. I think we should show we are very competent, and we are the ones who should be making the decision.
Okay, great. All right, Khaled, you're up next. Same question.
And was relating to what the question?
Did you hear the question?
No.
Okay. The question is, if workers were paid to make and adjust schedules and make decisions as a group with passenger input, what would you want to see change? How could that or something similar work?
About 15 years ago, we had that where we had one of our union brothers ask advice on what work schedule would you like, and they would take advice from many members, and then the majority would win, and they would switch our work schedules from 6 to 2 to 9 to 5 or 10 to 6. So they were able to move it around and send that to the work schedules at CTA, and they would authorize it. But that member retired and they never continued that. But this would help members who have, different situations in their lives where they need to pick schedules, not just a flat 6 to 2 or 2 to 10 or 10 to 6 at midnight, but to shuffle it around when people could work around different time schedules. But that'll be a great idea if they can bring that back, or if a union could say there was a past practice and it was done before, where they allow workers to, play with your time schedules, where it could be more flexible. But that's a great idea. Hopefully, maybe as a union, we could bring it back.
Okay, great. I support that. So, Bazir, you're up next.
Yes, all these are wonderful ideas, and I've noticed I'm slowly kind of breaking that ice in my department. We've had done my first pick now as executive board, so I've been in office coming on half a year, and I put out. I've been putting out surveys anyways about the pick, but now I have a survey since being elected, so it's very I take it a little more seriously, and it's really interesting to see what coworkers are saying, and the management does not like it at all. We had a pick meeting. I guess they thought it was just a social gathering. I don't know. And I'm reading off all these things that I've been sent by the workers in this survey, and they didn't like it at all. And like, oh, you can't just pop this on us at the last minute. Oh, like, okay, whatever. And then Vice President Mark Wayne says, well, how about we have a meeting in July about it? And of course, July is here. And when I ask him about it, it's like, oh, yeah, we're not going to do that now. So who we have in union leadership is definitely going to make it a lot easier for us to accomplish this goal. I think it's wonderful. I think let's keep it going. Let's keep that discussion going. And like Steve Eckhart says, what are we going to do to get there? And that's the key. It is collective action. It is direct action. It is civil disobedience. It is informational pickets. It is doing what real unions do. And some of my fellow reps like to tell me, Brother Eric, we're a different kind of union. We're not the UAW. We're not the CTU. We're ATU. And we emphasize relationships with management. Well, look at what that's done for us.
Not a damn thing.
Yeah. We got Eric Slater fired because of good relationships with management. Robert Thomas fired, good relationships with management. We got Eric Struck fired because good relationships with management. We got Vicky fired because good relationships with management. I could go on and on and on. The only relationship that matters is the relationship we have with each other. And just like you see in this meeting, that's exactly what we're doing. And let's build peace.
Thanks, Bazir, for your comments. Vicky, you next.
Can you can you repeat? Is it for the you was talking about for the could you just repeat the question over again?
Okay, I'll repeat it. If the workers were paid to make and adjust the schedules and make decisions as a group with the passenger input, what would you want to see change? How could that or something similar work?
You putting it back? I was saying the workers to make the schedule. That's what we're
Right. If the workers had input in the schedule, because right now we have zero input.
Or the run paddles, Vicky. Like the schedules, the
yeah.
time at the end of the run.
So yes, we should, because, and I'm gonna go because of 21 years in transportation, and when I came in 2004, at the end, well, actually the company said that the orientation we give you, they tell you in these books, get up at the end of the route, stretch your feet and move around and exercise, stay healthy. That's when I first came in. So over the years, they've been taking the time, pushing the time. When I first came in the company, we used to do one route. We would do one run and one route, and that whatever route we pick, we'll do that run. So over the years, they just took the time away and add 5 routes into one run and having us all over the place. Over there at where I'm at now, oh my God, you don't even get up out the seat. That's how they keep it. We don't even, when I was over there at CTA, at least I did get a 30-minute a 30-minute out the seat or whatever, have my trip, the swing or something like that. But over there where I'm at, they said, your time is in the run, at the end of the run, but you don't see no break. It's yes, we need to be involved with those time points because they done took a lot away from us, and we know the company agenda. It's just like the Hebrew slave. When Pharaoh told them, "Hey, I'm gonna make this hard for y'all. Take the scrolls out, making these bricks." They was already in mud making a brick, but they took the scrolls out because the scroll would make it more easy, but they made it harder for us. So yes, we do need to be involved with those time points, doing those runs. Yes, I agree. We do.
All right.
If I
Thank
answered
you,
the
Vicky.
question right.
Yeah, you did, Vicky. Thank you. And last but not least, Steve, you up.
All right, just real quick. I mean, I hired on in 1985, and at the time, the way things worked, and for some decades after that, was the pick was written up by the management, and then it went to the union, and the union had to approve the pick. And if they didn't, like they said, only going to be one, a yard inspector had to work by him or herself. We'd say no, and they'd have to adjust. So, I mean, it would be great to get back to that. Thank you.
All right, great, Steve. So now we're going to go into the second portion of the panel, and I'm going to introduce the second portion sections here. And this portion is talking about worker and union democracy. And I can say myself, we don't have much of that at ATU 241. Just the other day, I tried to pay my union dues at the union office, and the treasurer was there. I had came on the day at a mass membership meeting, and he was sitting there with another employee. And as soon as he saw me, he got irate. "What are you doing? You're not allowed. You're not an employee of the CTA anymore. And I was like, I had my witness there, Nicole Williams, another member of the Justice Coalition. She said, "What are you doing, Tion? He's trying to pay his union dues. He's trying to come up to date on, even though he's been fired, he's trying to pay his union dues. He just went into a tirade." So basically, I'm gonna make another attempt to pay my union dues with Eric Slater, because Eric Slater pays his union dues, and let's cross our fingers that they do the right thing and accept my union dues and not try to block me out of the union like they've been doing other people who have been unjustly fired for political reasons. So this portion, I'm gonna show a little video. This video is from an interview that I did with On the Block Chicago, which is a local show. And this segment was on CTA, the bad service, Dorval Carter being fired and whatnot. We're gonna see what one of the aldermen has to say about why CTA doesn't work.
For the CTA, it's not just the people running the buses or running our trains. There's a culture problem at the CTA. There's a direction problem at the CTA. And when you get to that level, and when you've been there for a while, that I think is when a change in leadership is necessary.
All right, Robert, culturally within CTA, do you agree?
Absolutely. CTA is a toxic workplace environment. It's been that way for a very long time. Multiple decades it's been toxic, and from the top down needs reform.
So what needs to happen? What reforms do you want to see?
So what do you guys think about that? Eric Slater, you can go first.
Well, I was going to say something brief on the previous section, the section before, and I got skipped. I'm just going to say something real quick about that, if you don't mind. It's based on that toxic work environment. Just real quickly, I think there's a hidden tension at the work sites at CTA and Pace Suburban. Passengers never see it. Even our families have trouble understanding it. If you were to ask one of the new hires, I actually know one in my current workplace now, who have left in less than a month. They've often left in horror. There's this tension between the capacity and ability of workers and our horrible treatment. I mean, many people have it worse than us. Many people around the world certainly. But I don't know of any place on earth where the divide is just so great between your expectation and reality. And I believe it's ready to boil over, or has been for quite a while. And basically, in a way to keep a lid on it, there's this top-down management system. It goes on other corporations too. But in this case, it has to go to quite extraordinary lengths over generations to keep us divided and under their thumbs. I would say that the executives, like you said before, the executives are hiring anybody trained out of business school could try to stand up against the threat, stand up against us using threats and paperwork mazes. As a steward, I would sit in the manager's office. I know Eric is doing this now as an executive board member. As an executive board member myself, we were threatened with being fired. The workers we were defending. And we would battle them. Overwhelmingly, perhaps 95% of the charges against us have nothing to do with safe or courteous service. So when this alder person says that there's a culture problem here, I would be more specific. There's a war going on. It's a class war that's going on more broadly, to speak to what Steve was saying, to join with other workers that are fighting this struggle. But it's very, very clear inside the garages between management against workers. But most of the rules are in place to attempt to intimidate workers. And many corporations pretend that we are a team and we are here to help you succeed as a worker. But management at CTA, and I think Pace as well, Vicky can talk about this if she wants. They don't hide their intentions. It's quite clear to us that we're under threat of losing our jobs at all times, and management does not back us up They see us as enemies and try to dominate us, like we're beasts of burdens or something. Okay, so just on the question, real quick on if I could just have a little time here to answer the direct question. I think, unfortunately, the elected officials of the major transit unions and CTA have been captured by management, and they've been taught a poisonous. If I could get another minute or so, do you mind?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, because I was just trying to answer both questions. They've been taught a poisonous form of unionism where they believe, or they've been told, that workers must submit to the bosses and give up our independence. They literally will say it's their company. You know, if you ran the company, wouldn't you do it this way? Well, I don't think we should look at it like that. I think we should see the union as our organization and our interest, not like halfway in between. And they basically are arguing it's our natural place as workers to submit to the bosses. And I don't think there's anything natural about that. You know, I've been fighting you asked for specific instances. I've been fighting to free our unions from this for about 2 decades. And it's been an open battle, both from management and, unfortunately, I like what Eric was calling them, the misleaders of the union, or you could even say treasonous. Okay, I'll finish on that. Basically, we need to defend our bylaws and Constitution. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay. Boogeyman, you're up next. What you think about what Alderman LaSpada said about the toxic workplace the toxic culture at CTA?
Well, you know, we're all family. And they appreciate us. And while I was listening to you guys talk, I was indulging in some sandwiches and chips that they gave me. I'm sitting here in my house with my new socks, my rainbow flag socks, and I tell you, I'm just grateful to have a job. You know, CTA is gonna do what it's gonna do. It is what it is. You just gotta submit and give your will and be treated like a slave, because you're nothing. You're nothing. Yeah. Excuse me. I had to purge myself there. The indoctrination is so thick. I'm sitting in these so-called disciplinary things, these punishment hearings. I don't use their language. It's not discipline. Discipline is when I say, damn it, I'm going to stop smoking. Damn it, I'm going to lose some weight. I'm going to build some muscle. I'm going to build a model, airplane, train, whatever. I'm going to learn a new language. I'm going to discipline myself. That's discipline, to make yourself better. This is punishment. It is punishment. And for the union officials to call it discipline is treason. It's treason. Even baked into our collective bargaining agreement, Article 17 regarding arbitration, we pay half for the arbitration costs and the CTA pays the other half. What in the world kind of contract is that? Where they unjustly fire or punish somebody, and then we got to send it to an arbitrator because they won't take it off that poor person's record. And then we got to pay half the cost if the arbitrator rules against the CTA? That's crazy. It's set up to fail. So yeah, we got a lot to do. We got a lot to change. But I think that if you and I keep meeting and we keep getting together and we keep mashing together our ideas and organizing action, we can change this and we can take control of our workplace, just like we could take control of our communities. Thank you.
All right, Bazir. So we got Steve. What you think about what LaSpada said?
Oh, solid. No, that all good. I'm gonna pass otherwise. I mean, yeah, good thinking. Obviously, we need to take control, but we can't do it with just a couple people. So it's all about figuring out how to force our union officials to behave properly, put them in a spot where they can't say no, put up a resolution saying we should go walk with UAW, not just one or two of us going. Put them in a spot where we put up a resolution, let's walk with the Teamsters, et cetera, and force them to do their job and try to build something that's bigger than what we got right now, because we need something bigger than what we got right now. Thank you.
Okay, Steve. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. We're just gonna make a couple announcements. We have the poll for the next hour of power coming out shortly. That'll be on Facebook. We need to democratically decide which location we want to have our next hour of power at, which is our protest off the clock, totally legal. And we want to encourage all the workers to come out. And also we have our next worker meeting at Culver's on August 2nd.
4th.
August 4th, Sunday, right?
Yeah, 2 p.m.
August 4th, 2 p.m. at Culver's, Bronzeville, 35th and King Drive. And we hope to see you all at that meeting. We could talk about, we like to meet right before the mass membership meeting so we could discuss tactics and what we plan to do and what we plan to achieve at the mass membership meetings. So that's it for the announcements for me. If Eric Slater or Eric Bazier have anything, go ahead.
Well, thank you guys so much for doing this meeting.
All right. Welcome. Bazier, you got anything before we go?
Oh, this was great. Great meeting. Thank you. Good job.
All right. So since we got 4 people here, I think the original question when we started was, do you support or do we support the merger between CTA, PACE, and Metro? So we just do a quick rapid fire yes, no, and I'll say yes. Eric Slater?
Does it have to be yes or no? Can I say something?
Well, make it short.
No, because it's not something we want and struggle, and it's by another class basically that's putting it forward, and they're up to no good. They're up to attacking our pension. They're up to privatizing a public industry, and we know that happens. That worsens the fare and worsens working conditions. I'm in favor of it if that's something we were fighting for and we want as a demand, as a sort of a social justice movement in that context.
Okay. And I like to say that I support it based on the fact if what they said is true, that it will save between $200 to $250 million a year if the merger happens. I'm for that. I'm all for savings. I'm all for transparency with the money, with the finances. So that's my reason for saying yes. Boogeyman?
No, not at all. This is just another money grabbing scheme. If you read their plans, it has nothing at all to do with us. It's the working conditions and all the real problems that are going on. It's consolidating will be a boon to the corporate bloodsuckers for getting their contracts for various construction projects. That's all.
Okay. And Steve, last but not least, Steve, what's your opinion on the merger?
Well, I mean, obviously on the level of just common sense and social engineering, that there should be one transportation system. It's ridiculous. You can't, you got to get off one and then, pay somebody else to go on something else. It should be one system. But the question for, workers is, well, under what conditions? So I don't think we should be in a position of opposing it. I think we should just take up the question is under what conditions. If it involves, no doubt, the enemies will try to use this as a chance to gut our pension.
and basically just draw us down to the lowest point of any union, conditions on the property. So, yeah, we would have to fight that, and we would have to, strongly encourage our membership, and especially our elected officials, however bad they are, to work together and talk about how a united front of all the labor that's involved in a unified system. Because I don't think a unified system is, it's a bad idea. It's just a question of under what conditions.
Right, and I completely agree with you on that, Steve. And I've been saying for a long time there should be one fare for all systems, and they're starting that. They have a pass that they introduced this summer where you can use one pass on all three systems and just pay one time, and that should have been the case a long time ago. And I think that all the systems should be, the schedule should be integrated. You shouldn't have to get off a metro train and wait for a CTA bus for 30 minutes. The schedule should align. Everything should align. And they know, and Cook County tried to do something with Metro recently where they subsidized some of the fares on two of the Rock Island Electric line to allow more urban people from the community to use it. And I think that's a great thing, and we need more of that. Metro is much smoother, better, safer than a lot of the train lines that we have in our communities. I love Metro. So if they can figure out how to integrate the schedules and pay one fare for all systems, that would be great. Now, that doesn't mean that the merger has to take place for those things to happen. And that's all I'm gonna say on that. And I want to thank everybody for watching this video with the workers. We are the transit workers. We move Chicago. And thank you. Have a good night.
Well said.